In terms of the Arab leaders, I know you didn't ask a question, I agree with you. The problem is, people talk about, Arabs don't have democracies. Arabs are incapable of democracies. And Egypt, of course, is a case in point, because Israel did have democratic elections. You may have heard, and the president of Egypt is in prison now, and Egypt is ruled by a general who took over by a coup, and now America supports and gives him the money. So the West never wanted the Arab world to have democracies, because then they wouldn't be able to bribe them. So none of the Arab leaders represent the people. You've got a king here, and you've got some lunatic general there, and as long as they're bribable, we allow them to continue. And by the way, we give them weapons as well. And the weapons, they don't need to fight enemies, they need to fight the people. So the reality that is true that the Arab leaders are dictators, but it's not the people's fault. It's because we in the West, and particularly now America, support the dictators with billions of dollars, and weapons that they use against the people. And when they do try something, we always help the other side, or we go in and we destroy their country. So that is the reality, and it's true, and that's why they have collaborators. If there wasn't this collaboration, none of the Arab countries that have peace with Israel, peace in Jordan, Egypt and Jordan have a peace agreement with Israel, would not have happened had these leaders not been bribed by the US. Because there is no justification to making peace and normal relations with the state of Israel. It's a racist, oppressive regime that needs to be replaced. So that is the reality, and I agree with you. And when you remember, here in the US, we are supporting these people. Some of you may recall that Saddam Hussein was given weapons and money by America. Until we got tired of him, and then we decided to do something else. The Americans decided to do something else. So I think this is important to remember. How many generations is it going to take? It's not going to take generations. It's going to happen very quickly. I think that once we have, well, I'll take a step back. The process that I foresee, and the process that people who I work with and so on foresee, is similar to what happened in South Africa. At one point, the clerk in South Africa didn't wake up one morning with angel wings and a halo and said, I'm going to love everybody. He woke up one morning and said, this cannot continue, because we just cannot continue with the isolation and the boycotts and so on, and world opinion against us. This can no longer go on. We have to end apartheid. So he stepped up to a podium. He said, we're going to release Nelson Mandela and the other prisoners, and the key word was not release, the key word was unconditionally. Because they offered Mandela release a few years before that with conditions. He said, thank you very much, I'm getting back on the boat going to Robben Island. So the key word was unconditionally, and then allow for the unbanning of all political parties and one person, one vote elections. That is how it's going to happen. The day after, Israelis and Palestinians may well have an Palestinian prime minister. The kids are going to go to school together. They're going to have to solve all the major issues together. Because none of the problems are going to be solved until this happens. Israel will not end the siege on Gaza. Israel will not allow the poverty and the horrifying conditions in Gaza to end. Israel will not allow the refugees to return to their homes. Israel will never allow for any kind of Palestinian rights to ever materialize. All of this will happen after the state of Israel is replaced by a real democratic regime that includes everyone and represents everyone, and together they can figure out how we pay reparations, how we do all these other things. Something Americans haven't done quite yet, have they? Pay reparations to anyone. Something maybe Americans need to discuss as well. But anyway, that is the process. So the day after, some people are going to hate more, some people are going to say, you know what, we need to go to work together and live together, and I don't think it's going to take generations. When the Oslo Accords were signed and there was a lot of euphoria and hope, Israelis were in the West Bank shopping, the Palestinians were in the shopping malls in Tel Aviv, Israelis were going to Gaza, to the beach. I mean, it was very quick. So I think people have a desire to live. And the people who hate are going to have to just sit home and wallow in their hate until it's over. But I don't think it's going to take generations. Okay, the rockets and the tunnels. Let's talk about Hamas. Hamas is a resistance organization. Hamas would never have been established had there not been the oppression and occupation of Palestine. It's a resistance organization. Resistance is a result, is an answer to, if you will, oppression. If there was no oppression, there'd be no resistance. There would not be Hezbollah if Israel didn't occupy southern Lebanon for 20 years. there would be no Hamas, or any other Palestinian resistance for that matter, had there not been the Israeli oppression and occupation of Palestine. It's as simple as that. If the oppressor doesn't like the resistance, then the oppressor has the ability to end the oppression. We blame them for shooting rockets? I want to see anybody live in Gaza for a week and see how long it takes them to start shooting rockets. I would wager anything. I don't know a single person that would go there. Of course, the people who do shoot the rockets are a very small group of people compared to the population in Gaza. But I want to see how many Americans can stay in Gaza, live in Gaza, how long it would take them before they start shooting rockets and voting for Hamas.